Hey there guys, welcome back to Impact. My name is Pastor Tyler, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us for this week's virtual Devo. We hope you all had a great Easter weekend, and we pray that you're encouraged by this week's video. Today's passage comes from Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 4, and it says this: Therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of the others. I have a quick question for those watching this video today. Have you ever climbed a mountain? I'm not talking about just a backyard hill or a snow mound in the winter. I'm talking about an actual mountain. Most of us watching this video, myself included, never going to climb a mountain in our entire lives. But if you have climbed a mountain, why don't you let us know in the comments? We'd love to know what you've actually climbed. Now, I've never personally ever climbed a mountain.
Surprise.
I've driven up Pikes Peak in Colorado, but I've never actually climbed it. I've hiked about 10 miles in Beaver's Bend, but not exactly what you would classify as a mountain, even though I thought I was going to die every 10 minutes.
Is it over? Are we done yet?
I want to tell you a quick story of a man named David. David Sharp was an English mountaineer who attempted to climb Mount Everest in 2006. On his way up the mountain, he decided to stop and take a rest from his exhaustion. What was supposed to be just a short break turned into him becoming frozen on the side of the mountain. The crazy thing is, David stayed alive for hours, and over 40 people ended up passing him in his frozen, alive body on the side of the mountain. The people passing him just thought he was a dead body from over 10 years ago. Not a single person attempted to help him while he still had a chance of survival. Finally, a group of climbers heard David moaning in the distance. They stopped their climb, they looked to see where David was, and they rushed to his assistance. Unfortunately, by the time that they could get any help, David had died from exhaustion and frostbite. This story is very telling for a lot of us today. Most of us will never physically climb a mountain in our lives like Mount Everest, but every single one of us is climbing a mountain right now, and that mountain is called life. We all struggle just to put one foot in front of the other, trying to get some footing, trying to get something to hold on to. We fight against the elements of the cold and the wind, pushing us back and forth. We face the steepness of the climb and the overwhelming size of the mountain. Let's just be honest, it can be tiring, exhausting, and painful at times climbing this mountain that we call life. But one thing to consider today is that while we can get so focused on our own climb, we forget about the people around us who are climbing too. Verse 3 and 4 from our passage today says, Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of the others. It was only when those hikers stopped, looked, and listened did they realize that David was in serious need of help. As people who call ourselves Christ followers, we need to stop, look, and listen for those who are hurting and in need of help. It's often those quiet cries for help that we miss in the busyness of our own life. Most of the time, the lost and the hurting aren't going to come begging to us, asking for assistance. Why? Because like David, many of them have gotten frozen in place. They can't move, better yet, call out for help. Are we too busy in our own climb to stop and help those who have fallen down? Are we too focused on our own struggles that we forget the people next to us that are barely hanging on? Remember, over 40 people passed by David when he still needed help. As we close this video today, I want you to remember this. Life is a climb, but don't forget your fellow climbers. The mountain itself is hard enough to climb. It's even harder to do it alone. Ecclesiastes 4:10 says this: If one of two men falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. We're not meant to do it alone. We need each other. So no matter where you're at in your climb today, try to notice the people who have stopped and maybe become frozen in place. Wake them up, bring them alongside of you, and continue climbing with them. Check up on an old friend. Reach out to somebody you may think is hurting. Encourage somebody today, even when you don't feel like you've been encouraged. I want to personally encourage and cheer you on today that no matter what you're going through in life, keep climbing. And as you do that, bring someone alongside of you. Help them to keep climbing too. Remember to stop, look, and listen. Life is a climb, but don't forget about your fellow climbers. Thanks again for joining us for our virtual Devo this week. We hope it spoke to you and encouraged you. Go ahead and drop us a like, a comment, or maybe even share it with a friend this week and encourage them. God bless you all. Have a fantastic week, Impact.